All right, so you ready for conics number 2? This is called the ellipse. Everybody say ellipse.
Ellipse.
Okay. And what does an ellipse look like more in common language? What language word would you use for an ellipse?
Oval.
Oval. Yeah, everybody say oval. Right? You got a circle, and then you squish it or elongate it, and now it goes like that, right? Maybe a flying saucer, if you've ever seen one. You ever seen a UFO, an unidentified flying object, right? They always look like ellipses, right? Right? They look like that kind of saucer shape. Okay. How about the word conics? Say conics.
Conics.
What word do I want you to think about, hopefully, when you say conics? Yeah, I want you to say cone. Everybody say cone.
Cone.
And I learned from talking to classes, I say when you hear the word conics, what do you think of? There's a whole slew of words that you think of. I'm trying to go for cone. All right, so what are conics? Conics are shapes produced when you slice up a cone. So take a cone, slice it this way, it produces a circle. Its cross section is what it's called. If you take a slanted slice through the cone, you get this ellipse shape. That's where it comes from. All right, so it's called a conic shape. There's a bunch of different ones. There's circle, ellipse, hyperbola, parabola. 4, maybe there's 5. I can't think of it right now. So let's talk about the equation of ellipse. Here's the generic equation. Are you looking at this one? And do you remember the circle we did? We did an equation of a circle. It had x minus h squared. Do you remember that? But it didn't have this piece. This is a new one. This over a squared in a fraction form. Plus y minus k squared over b squared, a new part from the circle. And notice it's equal to 1. If you remember the circle, it was equal to radius squared. Do you remember this? We drew it on Desmos. And then you tried to figure out where those pieces were coming and can I move it by adjusting the values in the equation of the circle. Now you have an equation of ellipse. So here's where it comes from. First things first, you have a center, HK. So right here in the center of the ellipse, this would be an H, comma K. And H is the X value. So if this center is back 1, 2, 3, 4 on the X, this would be a minus 4 here for H. And the K is the Y value, so it's back 4, down 2, so minus 4, minus 2. This would be minus 4, minus 2. But notice there's the minus in the equation, which flips the sign. So the equation for the center of this one is x plus 4 squared and y plus 2. Notice that the negative 4, negative, negative, produced a positive. You following that? And then negative 2 with a negative in the equation produced a positive here. So these reverse when you're talking about the center. And then notice the new component, we have 2 radii. So this is a radius here of the ellipse, and this is a radius here, one on the x, one on the y. This one is 1, 2, 3 for its radius, and so we square it. And for the x value, so this is in the x direction, 3, it gets squared and put under the x in the term, 9. This is a 5 squared, so you can expect that when you look at the y value for the radius, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how long this radius is here. And I didn't draw it too well. It should be it should be the exact same amount up. I just hand drew the tick mark, so it's a little bit off. Okay, and then always equal to 1. So here's what we want to do. Let's erase this. And let's write the equation for this one and then graph it in Desmos. You ready? All right, everybody looking up here? I need you to concentrate. So first things first, where's the center of this ellipse? Where's the center right here? So this is the y, this is the x. Where's the center right here?
Negative 4.
Then I tried to draw it accurately. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's coming back from the y, right? So negative 4 and then positive 1, 2. So how are you going to write that? Look at this equation here. Deal with the x value first. The x value in this case is negative 4. How do I write the equation of the ellipse? Who can be specific and tell me what to write first? Give me specific directions. This is your generic equation, so it's going to look a lot like this. There's values to replace here, 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 and that's it. 4 values to replace out.
Would you replace x with -4?
Close. We keep the actual x in there, and you might have meant this. So just in case if you meant this. We keep the x in there because it's graphed on an xy graph. But the value being subtracted from x, the h, is what gets replaced with the -4. Is that possibly what you meant? And it's okay if you didn't or not, right? Okay, you meant literally replace this.
Yeah.
So we leave the x in the equation, but we replace the h. It's the item that gets replaced. So if you have x minus h, and h is a -4, because that's the x value, what do I write here for that first part of the equation? X plus 4 squared. Why did the minus change to plus?
Because the subtraction and the negative cancel each other out.
Because the actual formula has subtraction in it, and the value has a negative in it, and a negative times a negative, right? In this case, negative is positive, so it switches there. Okay, good. Now let's do a plus between these. There's going to be a fraction and a fraction. How about the other part of the center? What would you write here for the other part of the equation? Before we get down to these a and b, let's do this other part up here.
Y minus +2.
Y, because it's this part of the equation, minus, and it's a plus, so -2 squared. You okay with this? I didn't hear totally what I think, Tiffany, what you said. Is that what you were thinking of? Okay. This is always equal to 1 because that's the way it works with an ellipse equation. So that's done. Now we have to deal with the radius in the x direction and the radius in the y direction. So here's the radius in the x direction. X being because it's going along the x-axis. So starting at the center and either going this side to this way in the positive direction to the edge, right, of the ellipse, or going in the other direction. Doesn't matter, it should be the same. So this radius is 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see it there. You can see the sort of box that's drawn out, right? It'd be nice if this was all maybe a little bit clearer. You see this box being drawn out, and this is the radius here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's in the x direction. What do you put here? Right? Because a is the radius, and we square it for the equation. So 16. How about the y? Without me counting it out, can you see it in there? Can you see the 6 radius in this direction? So yes, Tiffany, that's correct. So 1, 2, 3, here, it's easier to count down this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's this radius here. And because it's got to be squared, 6 times 6 is 36, so it goes here. So this is the equation of an ellipse. And so now I want you to pull up on open a tab and go to desmos.com quickly and type this in, and let's confirm that it looks like it should look. And I think that'll be enough. You'll do a lot of this in Algebra 2. This is your Algebra 2 Light, okay? Just an introduction to ellipse. And it'll be enough to finish. Open up the keyboard down there too. See that little dot? The keyboard will help a little bit. Desmos, DESMOS.com. Open up the keyboard on the left, bottom left, Sophia. There you go, there you go. And it will be nice if you can remember Desmos, for next year. You'll use it quite a bit. Almost all the teachers at this school do. You want to try it? You can do it on your phone. Do it on your phone. And you're trying to confirm, will you be able to see the center of the ellipse, and will you be able to see those 2 radii? And so that's good, Tiffany. Now, can you figure out if you've got the same center from what's on the board? And can you figure out if your 2 radii are the same? And if so, then you're just confirming that sure enough, this really is an equation of an ellipse. And sure enough, if you started to manipulate those four values, you can move things around. Do this one lower right. And open up the keyboard. See that lower left on your screen? Open that up. Good. And now start to type / use the, where, put your parentheses in. Right. Use your arrow keys, but the squared goes on the outside of the parentheses. Use your arrow keys to go in close to the 4.
That don't look right.
See, use your left arrow. There you go, now parentheses. Now to the square. That should do it, yeah. And then do a divided by. Yeah, get your sign right. And then do a divided by to then put the 16 under it. If that makes sense. Yeah, if the person next to you is struggling, you can help them out.
What is like turn your screen?
Yeah, good. Say divided by now. Yeah, you can. Good.